Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is The Lollipop and this is the Blix Soul X electric bicycle. Now this might look like a regular e-bike at first glance, but it's got some crazy features on it that are changing the game. It has everything you'd expect from a high quality e-bike with a comfortable upright seating position, cruiser style geometry that keeps your ride as smooth and relaxing as possible, but still a quick acceleration and top speed of 28 miles per hour, and a sleek light bar in the back which looks amazing. But on top of all that, it has some game-changing features that you never see on e-bikes or even regular bicycles at this price point, and those are electronic automatic shifting and automatic pedal assist modes. Blix's slogan for this bike is 5K tech, 2K price, so let's find out how much it's actually worth. In this video, we're going to test it out, going over everything from the unboxing and assembly process to all of the parts and specifications and my thoughts on all of them, and then finally we'll finish it off with a ride at the end where I'll give my final review. And hey, if you do like this bike after watching my review video, you can click on the Blix website link in the description below. This company has been around since 2014 and is actually a Swedish brand with an emphasis on minimalist designs. And they even gave me a discount code, so you can get an additional $100 off the bike by using the code TALOL100. So that helps you get a better deal and helps out the channel a bit without any additional cost from you. Alright, but let's jump into this bike by talking about the unboxing and assembly. Now, out of all the e-bikes I've ever built, this one was the quickest to unbox and put together, so definitely shout out to Blix for keeping it minimalistic, not only in their design, but also in their assembly process. You can see there's a separate box inside with these accessories. Not much here, but that's actually a good thing since it means Blix installed a lot of the accessories for you already, which helps make the assembly easier. Their owner's manual actually does not have any pictures in it for the assembly, so I followed their assembly video online, which is only on TikTok for some reason, but I put a link in the description below if you're interested. Now, funny thing is, I was praising the bike while assembling it since I had such a great time unboxing, but unfortunately my bike came with a defective part since no matter what I did, I could not get the front brake pads to stop rubbing against the brake rotor. I tried truing the rotor, removing hydraulic fluid, lubricating the brake pistons, and basically everything except for a full-on brake bleed, to the point where Blix actually had me send the bike back to them for inspection, and they sent me a new bike. I kept talking about how quick and easy this assembly was. So now I'm gonna do it all again. Yeah, so like I said, I got to assemble the whole thing again, which I'm very grateful was an easy assembly the second time around as well, and everything went perfectly on the new bike as expected. And I asked Blix if this issue would be covered under warranty, and they confirmed it would be, since their bikes have a 1-year comprehensive warranty against defects, and Blix has some in-person stores here and there that you can contact for support as well. Okay, but enough of that, let's get into all of the features, starting with the price. So this bike currently retails for $1,899 US, and with my discount code that goes down to $1,799. The bike comes in one frame size, but it has a step-through design, so super easy to get on and off, and it's definitely low enough to the ground for shorter riders, accommodating people from 5'1" inches tall to 6'2" inches. In terms of frame design and features, it has an aluminum alloy frame with a steel front fork. The bike itself weighs about 62 pounds, which I confirmed on my floor scale at home, and it sounds heavy, but really doesn't feel that bad when lifting it up. And it can hold a max payload of 400 pounds. It has a cruiser style design, and I like the overall minimalistic look. It has a simple Blix logo on each side of the down tube, has a metal plate bolted to the front with the Blix logo as well, which is interesting since you can actually take that off if you want to remove the front logo or to install a front rack. And Blix does have a couple of options on their website for compatible front racks. And then we have a subtle Soul X logo on only the left side of the bike on the seat stay here. So I like how it's not bombarded with a bunch of logos. My bike is in the color slate gray, and it's a pretty nice flat gray color, simple and subtle. But for some features, we have internal cable routing with the cables coming out of the middle, then corded and zip tied, so that looks great. The frame has a bar that connects the seat tube to the down tube for rigidity, but this can also be used to help pick up the bike, which is nice. There's a mount right above that area for a water bottle cage. It's got an adjustable kickstand on the left side, and one nice attention to detail is that the seat post clamp actually clamps sideways instead of straight on like on every other bike. You can see the cutout is on the side instead of on the back, and that's so you can remove the battery more easily. And finally, back here we have the included rear rack, which is definitely a good one since this is a MIC compatible rack, specifically a MIC or MIK HD or heavy duty. And if you're unfamiliar with these, MIC compatible racks are able to easily accept a large variety of different bags, baskets, child seats, and more with a simple clip-on and off system that actually locks in place so you can easily install and remove your cargo and not have to worry about it being secure in place. So that gives you more options than just a basic bike rack. On that note though, the downside with this rack is that the top of it unfortunately only mounts to the plastic fender and not to the metal frame, which means the amount of weight it can carry is a bit more limited. So something to keep in mind there. It is attached to the sides of the metal frame, but the top is only connected to that fender. Regardless, it looks great, can hold a max weight of 60 pounds, and has a pretty cool light bar in the back, which we'll cover later. Okay, but with frame details out of the way, let's talk about all of the cool tech features. This bike comes with a fairly lightweight battery, but despite that, it's still a big 48 volt, 12.8 amp hour battery, and this is located in the rear of the frame behind the seat tube, which does clear up a lot of space in the middle for your feet, but unfortunately makes it harder to remove the battery if you need to do that. You can luckily charge the battery on the bike itself using the included fast charger, but if you want to charge the battery separately, you need to use the key to unlock it, remove the key, otherwise it gets in the way, then pull the battery up and either pull it out all of the way upward if you have enough space with the seat out of the way, or pull it up just a bit and angle it to remove it from the left side only, since the right side does not have as much space to do this. This battery removal and install technique is a bit tricky and takes some getting used to, so that's a bit annoying, but relatively not a big deal. This battery is paired to a 750 watt motor with 70 Newton meters of torque located in the rear wheel hub, and this is connected to a torque sensor to give you the right amount of assist based on how hard you pedal, which is great. And all this allows the bike to go that max speed of 28 miles per hour with a fairly decent acceleration. Not the quickest, but definitely more than expected for a cruiser bike. And it has a max range of 70 miles on eco mode, so that's pretty awesome too. But moving up to the screen, which is right in the middle of the handlebar, you turn this on by holding the button on the back of the left side controller here. Then the screen turns on and makes a little chime noise. And then you can see your pedal assist mode on the top left, current time next to that, battery percentage on the top right, and then you have current speed in the middle, pedal assist mode again below that, estimated range on the bottom left, and this changes based on which mode you're in, which is super cool and helpful. And finally, trip info on the bottom right. And you can also click the button below the screen to cycle through more info, like cadence, power, even calories burned. And you can even double click this button to access more settings like screen brightness, which I leave on auto, and some other bike info here, so lots of stuff to play around with. But back to the left controller, you can change your pedal assist mode by clicking the same back button, and you have 3 pedal assist modes: Eco, Tour, and Turbo. And I like how the colored lights on the controller change to match the pedal assist level. And then you can turn it completely off with no pedal assist. And then you also have auto mode, which enables the super cool and innovative automatic pedal assist feature. So it'll actually change the pedal assist level automatically depending on how fast you're going. I will definitely talk about that more on our test ride, but this feature works well and I think it's great to have on this bike. And then the plus and minus buttons on this same controller, believe it or not, actually control the shifting on this bike. So pressing these buttons literally moves the rear derailleur, which makes it seem like this bike has full electronic shifting like SRAM Eagle Axis, which is super expensive. But this is actually more of a hybrid electronic and manual system where it's electronically controlling a cable pull of the rear derailleur rather than electronically controlling the movement of the derailleur itself. Regardless, this feature actually works super well, and I think it's awesome to have, and at the very least, a neat party trick. But part of the reason Blix added this in is because when you are on auto pedal assist mode, you can actually hold this plus sign on the left controller to activate the automatic shifting functionality. You'll see a capital A symbol on the screen with a circle around it, and what this does is similar to auto pedal assist, but it actually shifts gears for you if it notices you're straining too hard, so it'll go to an easier gear, or if you're pedaling too fast, it'll go to a harder gear to help match your tempo. And this actually works super well. Really cool stuff here from an e-bike that's relatively less expensive. And I will say it's not just shifting all the time, it only shifts when the bike thinks it's necessary, which is usually when going uphill or something. But most of the time, the electric assist of the bike is enough to make up for any strain in pedaling. but that makes sense to make the ride more smooth and more seamless. But moving on, we also have another feature on this controller, which is walk mode. So if you hold down the minus button on this side, it activates walk mode, which just moves the bike at about 3.5 miles per hour as long as you're holding that minus button. So if you're walking the bike up a hill and need some extra boost, you can let the motor do the work. Alright, now let's move over to the right side where we have a whole nother set of controls. So on the very right, we have the throttle, which you can use to accelerate the bike instead of pedaling. And as required by law, the throttle lets you reach a top speed of 20 miles per hour. While pedal assist lets you go to the full 28 miles per hour. But on the controller itself, you have your horn at the very bottom, and then you have all of your light controls. So the top button turns on the lights, and this is super cool since if you press this button downward, it turns on the normal front headlight, but if you click it upward, it turns on the high beam headlight for added visibility. I haven't seen an e-bike come with 2 headlight modes yet, so that's super cool to me. The light itself is fairly bright. The regular mode is okay for seeing at night, but the high beam definitely works great. And you can see it really goes further out to get a much better view in dark lighting. But my favorite lighting aspect is actually the rear taillight, which I mentioned before is integrated into that rear rack and has a wraparound light bar design like a futuristic car. And it's definitely bright enough to be seen by cars and anyone else on the road, so that's awesome for safety. And on top of that, it even has turn signals, which you turn on by using the right side controller. And those also work super well and look great while riding, so overall an awesome design. And lastly, for tech stuff, they do have a Blix app, which allows you to access even more features like over-the-air software updates, and you can even change the bike's classification from class 2 to class 3 if you wanted to go slower or faster, while following your local laws, of course. And you can use the app to adjust the electronic shifting as well, since you otherwise can't make too many adjustments in the drivetrain, so that's nice to really dial in the shifting if needed. Okay, but with all that fun tech stuff done, now let's go over all of the mechanical features and parts. Starting with the wheels, we have generic steel rims which get the job done and feel sturdy, and those are paired to Innova tires that are 26 inches in diameter, so normal size for cruiser bikes, and these are 2.4 inches wide for a comfortable and stable ride on the pavement. They have a decent tread pattern for comfort and speed on the road, not designed for off-roading for sure, but can handle some dirt pads here and there. And they even have a reflective sidewall, so that's good for safety since they do shine against light. And we have full coverage fenders on here which look great and feel durable, so no complaints there. And these are plastic, which I actually prefer since they are quieter and won't rust. Next up, for the brakes, we actually have Blix branded brakes on here, and these are hydraulic disc brakes that work well in all weather conditions. They also have a nice minimalistic flat design and get the job done to stop this bike. These are paired to 180mm wide brake rotors in the front and rear, and these are thicker rotors designed for e-bikes, so that's great to stop the bike. And the brake levers themselves share that minimal design. These feel good and look good, so no complaints here either. And they even have a little adjustment knob that you can turn to change the feel a bit. And now for the drivetrain. This is a 1x8 drivetrain with 8 total speeds. You have a big front crankset here, which is normal for e-bikes to help get that power down. A nice metal chain guard to protect your clothes from getting caught in the chain. And back here we have the microshift rear derailleur, which is a decent brand, and this derailleur shifts well. It's fairly reliable and smooth, so that's good. And you have an 8-speed freewheel in the back with 13 teeth on the smallest cog and 32 teeth on the largest cog, which isn't a wide range, but works fine for this style of bike, especially with all of the electric features to help you out. For some of these smaller components, we have a Blix branded seat on this bike that has a nice matte black finish. Nothing special, but it's fairly comfortable and works well. The stem is angle adjustable, so you can bring the handlebars up or down if you want to have a more upright seating position or a more aggressive one. And then the handlebar itself is 660mm wide, and the bars lean back toward you for a comfortable grip, where your arms don't get as tired, so that's great. And finally, the grips on here are full rubber and have a palm rest, which is also comfortable. They do unfortunately move up and down just a bit even when fully tightened, but not a big deal since I don't really notice that when riding. Okay, but that is finally it for covering all of the parts on this bike. Now let's finally get on it and talk about all of those cool features. Okay, riding the Blix Soul X. I have it in off right now, so no electric assist, just to talk about how it feels like a normal bike if you don't want to use the electric power. And the gears, you know, is pretty cool seeing how this controller mechanism just shifts that rear derailleur there, and it works pretty instantaneously. I'm gonna throttle it up, and you know, it goes to 20 miles an hour pretty quickly on that throttle. Wanting to get a little bit of exercise, eco is definitely the way to go here. Feels great on eco. I can kick it up to tour, so that's going a little bit faster. I'll shift myself here, and turbo, just to show you that it does reach that 28 mile per hour max. I'm just shifting down to the hardest gear for pedaling, and I'm just gonna pedal forward until we hit 28. We're at 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28 miles an hour. But it definitely feels good, gets up to that top speed super quickly, and these brakes are just so good on this bike. We got front and rear hydraulic disc, thicker rotors on there, so no concerns about safety on this bike for sure. But now we're gonna move it on to auto pedal assist. I'm only gonna start with the auto pedal assist, not the auto shifting, just to show you how that kind of works. But you can see, like, as I'm trying to pedal faster, it's now kind of assisting me even more so. It's not gonna change gears for me, so I'll have to manually decide if I want an easier gear to go uphill or something, but we're gonna go up that same hill right now. Feels like it's more of on an eco mode right now, but if I start really torquing down on these pedals, it's starting to give me that assist now. We're at 20. The nice thing about auto pedal assist is that even if you're in the wrong gear, like right now I'm in the hardest pedaling gear, which is not the gear you want to be in when going uphill, the auto pedal assist still makes up for it, to where I just feel like I'm in a normal climbing gear and there's no problems there. Of course, you can manually change pedal assist as you need to. I don't think the auto pedal assist is like a super groundbreaking feature, but it is really cool and it works well. So it's just one less thing you have to think about when you're trying to ride your bike. As we go back down the hill here, I'm gonna hold that plus sign, go into the auto shift, and that'll help me illustrate how the bike does have that auto shifting functionality. Now, if you do manually shift on this bike, it'll override the auto shift, so you'll have to turn it on again. But here we are, I'm in an easier gear. I'm pedaling super hard, and look at that, it just shifted down. It's shifting down again, shifted down again, and again, and now it's on the hardest gear now. So it automatically knew that based on how much I was pedaling and how hard I was trying to pedal, and I was just spinning in place, not really going anywhere, that it's just gonna shift all the way down to a harder gear. So it's pretty cool. It's really a lot of cool tech built into this one bike. All right, we're gonna go on a bit of a mini bike path, mini trail-like thing. This bike does not have off-roading dedicated tires and is definitely not an off-road style bike at all, but I still just want to show you guys that it can handle, you know, little dirt paths and even some bumpy stuff here and there. Woo! It's definitely gonna rock your arms a bit and be a little uncomfortable, but if you do end up going somewhere like this with your fenders and the wide enough tires, it can handle it. But overall, this bike looks great, it feels great, and surprisingly works really well with all of its innovative auto pedal assist and auto shifting functionality. And it even throws on more features on top of that with the electronic manual shifting, which is super cool and fun to use. The high beam and the low beams, the two different light options, the turn signals, the rear light bar that just looks awesome as well, all while staying true to their minimalistic design and style. It checks off all or almost all the boxes that you could hope for in an e-bike. So yeah, I gotta say, I definitely do recommend this bike to anyone who's considering it. But that is it for my review of the Blix Soul X Comfort e-bike. Thank you all for watching if you made it this far, and I appreciate all of you for liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. I hope all of you have an amazing day today, and remember to keep biking out there.